Hello, welcome to Elite Pilates Teacher Training down here in Devon. We run YMCA Level 3 diplomas in Mat Pilates, and this is an input, a lesson on associated with breathing, but it links in with some of the anatomy videos, so it's handy if you know your muscles for this one. This is about upper thoracic breathing, and to some extent why people do it. A little bit of a fuller explanation than a video that Tanya's put on there. So, first of all, rule number one for beginners in Pilates when they're clients: don't worry about your breathing, just breathe, just don't hold your breath. That's rule number one, because a lot of hooey and tosh spoken about breath within Pilates because they misunderstand, to my version, my take on it. A lot of people now misunderstand how he used to do the breathing, because he did two aspects, which I'm not going to go on this video. We're talking about upper thoracic breathing. Breathing can have a massive effect on the brain, on the physiology and on the endocrine system. I'm not going to go into details here, it's only a level 3 course, you don't really need to know half of what I'm going to talk about today. But again, we want you to be good Pilates teachers and not just your average Pilates teacher. So upper thoracic breathing, what is it? Some people tend to breathe shallowly. They breathe from up here. It's if the muscles of inspiration are only up here, lifting the rib cage up. Let's talk about physiology, endocrine system first. When you tend to breathe like that, as a general rule, it's short and shallow. Ever been scared? Yeah, ring a bell? You're stimulating your sympathetic nervous system in a nutshell, fight or flight. Which that changes your brainwaves. Different breath patterns changes your brainwaves in different ways. It stimulates your endocrines and certain hormones for fight or flight. It's not a chill, that relax or more. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't ever do shallow breathing. Quite the contrary, there's a time and a place for it. However, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. From a Pilates point of view, we're interested in it because usually why people shallow breathe. Not about when they deliberately try breath practice of shallow breathing. Fine, brilliant, honky-dory, crack on with it. We're on about faulty muscle recruitment as a reason why they shallow breathe. Use your anatomy. I'm not going to go in depth too much, just look at the anatomy videos on some of these muscles I'm going to mention now. Collectively, your scalene muscles, they attach to almost all your neck vertebrae and attach either to the first and the second ribs. They're used for the inspiration, especially shallow thoracic, upper thoracic breathing. Sternocleidomastoid attaches to the maneuvering sternum, the clavicle and mastoid process. That upper thoracic breathing, just in breathing in general. Next main muscle involved attaches to the coracoid process, and it's the pec minor. It attaches to the third, fourth, fifth rib, second, third, fourth, fifth rib, something like that. And that is used for the bucket handle lift. So they're the main culprits, and they should be using, especially with forced inspiration normally. But shallow breathing, why do people do that then? I use driving as a classic example for a lot of things. We spend it lifted up and rounded forward. In particular, pec minor is in a much shortened position because the shoulder blades roll forward. You know your anatomy. You're crunched up, you're lifted up. So all these muscles, sternocleidomastoid, scalenes and pec minor, are all lifted up. They're all in a shortened position, which is great while we're doing that. But when we come to do other things, it pulls. It's short and tight, and as I've said in other videos, they dominate and they bully. And they dominate and bully your respiration. You inhale and you exhale. They're dominant. They're up here anyway. So you tend to do shallow breathing. Why? Because they're short and tight. Think of where they attach. Let's just take the sternocleidomastoid and the scalenes. Yeah. First, the clavicle, sternum, first rib, second rib. They're short and tight. They don't want to stretch and go down. So when some of the stretches we do, that by breath can make a difference. Put your head in a stretch, for argument's sake, for your trapezius muscle. Breathe in. It should ease off. You shouldn't feel the stretch as much. Why? Because as you breathe in, you're lifting that up, you're putting the muscles in a short position so they feel nice and chilled. It's when you exhale and sink the ribs down. These ribs and the chest, the clavicle, sink them down as you stretch, and you will, if your body aware, feel it pull and get more of a stretch. So for people with upper thoracic breathing, possibly what occupation, what job, what activity, what hobby, why? I usually like to look at why. Why are you in that position? Because usually that's the easiest thing, theoretically, to cure. Just packing your job. it's usually what's causing it in the first place. It's going to, if you can get them to stop that, it's going to make the biggest difference, quite frankly. Yes, some of the Pilates moves and some of the breath we're encouraging to either belly breath, lateral thoracic breathing, just to get away with. More the exhale, full exhale. Sink the ribs down as your neck stays long, as your chin stays up, as your whole rib cage stays lifted, your whole rib cage. Stretch off these muscles just by doing that certain breath exercises, just stretch them off. As well as little stretches as well, various stretches that you can do, chin tucks as well. So that is shallow breathing, a little bit more of an explanation of what's involved: the scalene muscles, sternocleidomastoid and pec minor in particular. They tend to be shallow breathing. Why? Because they're short and tight. Usually your posture, your activity, your job is causing them to be in that shortened position. Certain movements and exercises you can do to stretch them off and practice breath. So it's just a consideration. It's not that through faulty muscle recruitment it is considered a fault or faulty pattern. If you're just trying it out as a breath exercise, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But just bear in mind it can have an effect on fight or flight, your endocrine system, your blood pressure, your heart rate. All that can have an influence. Usually if you want to chill out, you want to be going to the opposite, which there's other videos on belly breath and about relaxing them, but it has a hormonal effect on the body. I'm Paul from the Pilates Teacher Training, and this was on upper thoracic breathing. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment our video, and follow us on Facebook, Elite Pilates Teacher Training, Elite Pilates Services, and once again, thanks for watching.